Good morning. It is shop day today, and we are working on a project for the 1972 Sears tractor. Now, I took the carb apart and cleaned it, and the problem I came out with was the fact that the throttle shaft is very, very loose. I don't know if you can see that. Look how much play that has in there. Can't have it like that. Air leaks in through the shaft into the carburetor and messes up the fuel mixture. So we got to fix this. Now, I probably could go out and find another carburetor, but I've got machine tools. So let's see if I can't do this without anyone else's help. Whatever man made at one point, man can remake even better. Now, I've rebuilt the carburetor, cleaned it all up, and it does run. I stuck it on the tractor and did a little test run with it. Because of the throttle shaft being that way, it doesn't run very well. It keeps sucking air in through the throttle shaft, and it's hard to keep it wants to pulse. It doesn't want to run right with the governor. So, my fix is going to be, I've got a piece of brass rod stock here, and I've got a plan. We are going to turn ourselves a new throttle shaft, slightly bigger than the other one. We are going to bore this hole out straight with the mill so it fits the new throttle shaft. Turns easily but doesn't leak air, and hopefully that will fix the carburetor issue. So I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. Now, I've already done some measurements, and I got my plan here. The shaft itself is going to be 2.068 inches long. We have one flat to mill for the throttle butterfly, which is 1.067 long and 0.21 from the end. We have two flats to mill on the end of the stock. Let's get that in the picture. That will let the actual throttle piece work. As you can see, it's a kind of a double D, I call them. But it's got a flat on each side, and this will go on top of the shaft to move it back and forth. The original, as you can see, was just peened onto the shaft, and I ground that off to get the throttle plate off. So, this is the plan. We're going to be using both the mill and the lathe, and let's see what we can do. I'll take you along for the ride. Okay, first order of business here. I cut off a piece of brass rod stock to use as my base. I got to change out the chuck on the lathe. For my ER32 collet chuck. And figure out which collet I need here. It's just a quarter. haven't even opened the 1/4 inch collet yet. Okay. Perfect. Insert the collet. What I'm gonna do now, I gotta grab my tool and gotta face this end off so it's flat, and then we'll start laying things out. Okay, let's get this tightened in a little better. Nope, tighten, not loosen. And spin this bit. And all we're going to do here is face off the cut end of the rod here to make it smooth again. In back gears last time. Okay, that's better. There we go. Move that on. Bring you guys in a little closer. Mr. Camera will focus. There we go. Okay. Distracted with the camera, not paying attention to what I'm doing there. And there we go. Nice clean face. Now we can start our layout. Now this is going to be the top end of the throttle shaft. And I actually have to put a reduced diameter on this top end, which I didn't put on the drawing because I forgot. Because there's a spring that has to go on there and it's not quite big enough to go around this size of a diameter of shaft. So we have to reduce that diameter down to the diameter of the original shaft. Which is 2/16. So we have to have a reduced diameter, 2/16 diameter, and about 0.4 in length. So, I got my calipers here. So 0.4. I'm just going to use them to scribe me a bit of a line. This is not an exact measurement. It doesn't need to be. It's not a critical dimension. I just need clearance for that spring. But I have to bring the diameter down to 2/16 for that length from the end so that's what our first order of business is. I am going to up the speed on the lathe a little here, because this is a little bit slow for what I'm doing. I'm going to jump about 2 steps here on the speed. And on this old lathe, that requires changing the belt position. Which isn't really too hard. That's more like it. Now I'll bring you guys back in. Focus, camera, focus. And you can see the line. And I'm going to be making cuts back to the line to bring this diameter down to 2/16. Now we check diameter. Camera ran out of cards, sorry about that. Okay, let's continue here. I made the first couple passes. We're down to about 0.217. I'm really just going to make another cleanup pass and call it good. And we'll check. Point 216, right on the money. Now, we need to make a few adjustments here. Need to make a measurement of the flat. Okay, so that is reduced down. All I have to do really is trim it to length now on the lathe, or at least get a get a mark on it. And then we'll be moving over to the milling machine for the flats that it needs. Okay, let's take her loose from the collet chuck here. Bring you guys back out. Hey, dummy. Boy, really tightened her in there. There we go. Now, I need it to be 2.068 in length. So we will pop it back in the chuck for a second. Get a scribe line on there. And I'm going to take it over to the bandsaw and cut it off a little bit beyond the line, and then we'll flip it end for end and face it. So I have a nice flat end to work with. Be right back. Okay. All I gotta do is face it off a little bit. What's going on here? That's plenty good. Break the edge with a file. Now we're ready to go over to the mill. And what's nice is I'm going to be using a dividing head on the mill, and this chuck also fits that head. So all I have to do is take the chuck with a piece in it over to the mill. We'll see you there.